Oh boy. Oh, come on. Don't tell me the PS4 just turned off. There we go. Hello? Can anyone see it? Hello? Anyone? Hello? There it is. Okay. I was waiting for the construction to end to start a stream, and I was practicing the lab a little bit to get ready to go live, and yeah. As you can hear, they're drilling back there, which has been getting really annoying. I don't know what they're doing. They've been very noisy this morning, but a little bit of a fluke happened. I played it for about a half hour. Where's the controller? Hang on. So I played it for about a half hour. I accidentally got the platinum. Yeah, it's done. The deed has been done. I am sorry I did not do it live. I'm actually really upset that I didn't do it live. I figured out how to do it. The timing I thought it was not correct. You actually want it to go a little bit before. And if you're about to get zapped by it, if you time a spin jump just right, you can clear the first one without getting hit. So, I ended up getting it. That's every single platinum now in Crash 1. I am so sorry I did not get to do that live. I'm actually really upset. I paused it immediately because I couldn't believe that it just happened. Which is why you're at least seeing this. I'm sorry it did not get to be live. That's it. Crash 1's done. That's every platinum relic. It's all over and done with. Vicarious Visions, that was very mean of you to make that the time for that one. That was very lousy of you. I'm not happy. I don't support that. Typically I would be in support of it, but that's kind of an unacceptable one a little bit. What upset me the most was there was another run before this one that I actually got to the end even quicker, and Crash slipped off the TNT crate. He landed on it, his arms were up as he like hovered inside of it for a second, and then just fell out of it and died. This is you do within the last 50. Oh, you can use the share button? Oh, how do you do it? How do you do it? Hang on. Use let me disable the video for a sec. How do you do it? How do you do it? Someone in the chat, tell me how to do it so I can get a video of it. Hang on. How do you do it? PS4 is a share feature. I may have saved it. Save video clip? Is that what I do? What do you do? Someone tell me. I did save video clip. Does that give me... Okay, check the video files. Oh my god, do I have it? Do I have it now? If I have it, I'll be very happy. I can play it back so you can all see it. Please wait. Oh boy. Okay, I saved a video clip. Let me see if I can actually get the video of me doing it. I'll be very happy if I can get that. I hope it's not saying please wait because it needs to connect to the internet to do this or something. I saved the video clip though. Oh, it says share video clip. I don't want to share it. I just want to watch it. How do I watch it? Video clip save. Yeah, capture gallery. How do I go to the capture gallery? Does anyone know? Capture gallery. Where the heck is that? Oh boy, this is so unfamiliar to me. I've never really used the PS4. Like I said, I'm also sorry for the noise behind me. This is why I wasn't streaming. They've been using a jackhammer all morning, and it's been getting really irritating. Jillian's woken up repeatedly because of it. System. Where's system? PlayStation Store, what's new, crash, TV and video, internet browser, live from PlayStation, PlayStation Now. I don't see a system option. Notifications, friends, communities, events, messages, party, profile, trophies, settings, power. I don't see a system option. It's non-system. Well, there's no system option anyways from what I'm seeing. Settings, storage, capture. Okay, thank you. Settings, storage. There it is. System storage, capture gallery. And I can look at it from here. Crash. Video clips. And can I track it back? Ooh, here we go. Yes, 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 yes. Here we go. Here we go. I think this is, so this is the last 15 minutes, right? Is there a way to track it forward or anything? Oh boy. I did not mean to do that. No. Go back. Go back. Oh boy. Rewind. I'm not sure how you do this. This is very weird. No, no, no. Okay. Stop. Use bumpers. Oh. Oh, here we go. Can I do this to get to it? This might get to it. Hang on. I panicked. I paused it immediately and panicked and tried to get the stream started up. I'm glad this is a feature. That's actually really cool that saves like the last 15 minutes. That means I actually saved the video of it then. Yeah, here we go. Okay, we can see it now. Let's rewind us to the beginning. Okay. Oh, what the I rewinded it. Come on, don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. I tried to hit play and it scoots it back ahead. Okay, whatever. Is this the run? I'm not sure this is the run, we'll see, I guess. But, oh, look at that. It even puts interpolation on the video to try to make it look like it's not running at 30. Okay, so I think this is the run when I did it. So, we'll see. This looks about right. This might be right. But yeah, I was practicing it for about a half hour before I just started the stream up. I freaked out really hard when I actually got it because I didn't think I was going to. This wasn't the one. I think it's the one after. That's probably it. I was trying to figure out new timings to maybe go for it. Is this where I spin jump over? No, this is not it though. I spin jump over the beginning and that was how I got it. Is this the one? I'm sorry I'm like fumbling this so much. I've... Oh, that's not the one. This might be the one right here. Okay, spin jump over it? No, that's not it then. Okay, that was it. This is a really awkward way to control this, by the way. Okay, so it's this next one. Sorry, everyone. I'm still shaking a little bit. I'm sorry. It's rare to get excited about something too, but I can't believe this just happened. I'm really mad I didn't get to do it on stream, like I said. So just give him a bit. He'll make it. Yeah, this stage is very, very nasty. If no one has gotten the platinum on the stage yet, I do not blame you whatsoever. And to anyone who tries posting like tips and tricks for it, there really aren't any. There is no tip, strategy, anything to this. It's all up to you at the beginning of the level. If you get it timed just right, you got it. I'm also really sorry about the jackhammers. I hope they stop. They've been very noisy this morning. This was the moment of truth. There it is. That was not the run. That was a bad run. And it rubs it in when you get a bad run. It says, great job. And it makes you angry. Okay, let's rewind it from here. I kept trying to do it over and over again. This is the one, I hope. That was the gold time, though. The gold time is like 25 seconds. And, I think they did that just to be turds. They have all these different messages like, not too bad, or get better. They have all these messages. I haven't seen any of those. I haven't seen the nasty ones yet. But I've had friends send me images of it, like rubbing it in their face that they didn't get it. But, the one zap thing actually is not necessarily needed. You just need to be able to keep a good time going throughout the whole thing when you get to the end. Really, the biggest part is the room before the end too. The room before the end, if you can go off the geometry really fast, you can save a bunch of time going into the next room. Also, I'm sorry if you can't hear me over the jackhammer. And there it was. That's it. There's your platinum. I was not expecting... You can see, too, I paused the game, like, right away after I got it. I freaked out. But, yeah. That's it. That's the platinum. We're done with Crash 1 in the Insane Trilogy. It's 102% clear. So yeah, I'm gonna read the donations. I'm sorry too about the stupid jackhammer going in the back. It's been doing a great job irritating me for the whole morning. There was no way to sleep when it started, so I got woken up pretty early. Okay, no one can hear it? Really? Oh, that's fantastic if no one can actually hear it. It's really loud. I'm surprised that this is canceling the sound out, but let's look back in memory lane. Wow. Look at all these. What am I gonna do with all these things? There's so many of them. So many of them. Now defeat Cortex again. Why? What difference does it make? Well, let's seal the deal. Let's save this up and be done forever. That 100 is now 102. It's all over. Crash Bandicoot 1, 100% complete. 102. No sound for donations. Probably because I screwed something up. So hang on. I wonder why there'd be no sound for donations. It goofs up sometimes because I need to run a few programs in the right order. But let's do one last thing to really make this file set and done. Oh, they're not here anymore. Well, never mind then. I was hoping... Oh, did you see that pop in? I was hoping all those 1-ups would still be there, so I could go up to 99. That's fine. I can get a 1-up somewhere else if I can't get it there. The game is louder than you. I sort of don't believe that, but let me see if that's the case. No, it isn't. No, the game is not. I will turn it down a little bit, but it is not louder than me looking at the volume levels. I noticed that happened yesterday. Was Octopimp was streaming Guilty Gear and someone told him it was louder than him when it wasn't. I think people just don't have an ear for that sort of thing sometimes. They want the game to just be really quiet. Maybe there's a thing on the mic. Here, does that help at all? I tried adjusting some stuff on the mic. Okay, can y'all hear me? You hear the jackhammer? There's the jackhammer. Ugh. Okay, what if I do that? Do you still hear the jackhammer now? Okay. So there's actually noise canceling stuff on this mic, I guess. That's good. Yeah, if you want to hear the jackhammer, I can turn those on. But I will not turn them on, so you don't have to hear it. Yeah, I sort of panicked. I should plug in the monitor for the chat now. I may as well stream. I did not think I was going to end up doing that. I panicked. I seriously did not think I was going to end up just doing that in the last second. So let's wrap up for real this time. Crash Bandicoot 1 is over. Poor Crash. Yeah. Jesus. A jackhammer. I know everyone's saying it's quiet. It still takes me by surprise is the thing. It goes quiet and the floor in here actually shakes from it because they're seriously right next door out the window. So the floor in here shakes when they use the jackhammer. It's inconvenient. Anyways, hang on. Let me switch things up. Let's hook the monitor up for the chat. I'll read some donations off and maybe I'll play something else for a little bit. We got some stuff we need to do today. I wanted to work in a stream earlier, but like I said, the construction is so noisy. I didn't want to. I figured it was going to get picked up and be really annoying. So give me one sec. Let me turn on the monitor, hook the chat up to it, and then I'll read donations and everything. But yeah, it's over, everyone. It's over. That's it. It's every platinum. So to anyone out there who wants to get mad at me saying you don't even know how to play it, I got everything. I'll delete the save. Okay. Oh, I like that icon. I never saw that. That's a good icon. Do the same thing on 3 save files. Did you ever do that as a kid? I remember I used to do that. What I remember I used to do was if a game had more than one save file, I wouldn't even copy and paste the save file a bunch of times. I would try to play through each of them to get 100% on all of them. Okay, hang on. Let me hook up the monitor. I'll read the chat then, and I'll go through donations. Oh. deserve... Oh God. I deserve a reward for doing such a good thing. I'm the best at video games. I know everything. Just like how the PS2 has analog buttons on it, I completely forgot about that. And everybody got very mad. I'm sorry, I actually did forget about that. I can admit a mistake when I make one. I forgot about the analog button thing because it almost never came up. And I think part of why I never noticed too is because I used so many different controllers from PS1. I never really realized that sort of thing with PS2. But yeah, the DualShock 2 actually had that as a feature. I forgot. What games used it? Everyone's saying Metal Gear because yeah, it did. I forgot about that. Mad Maestro used it. What else used it? Something else did. I'm trying to remember. The Bouncer? Didn't the Bouncer do it? But the thing I always remembered about it, I heard it was taken out because it wore the buttons down. Yeah, I mean that was part of it. Is that it wasn't a feature that stuck around forever. I think that's why I forgot about it. But what I always had just assumed with the analog button thing was just like, oh, it's on a timer, because Neo Geo Pocket games, the fighting games they did, the way that they had worked was if you're doing a different strength move, so if you're doing like a light punch or a hard punch, the difference was how long you held the button down. It wasn't like how hard you hit it, it was how long you held it down. So that gave you like kind of the same feel. It was like, oh, I tapped it really hard because I held it a little bit longer. It was like the same sort of thing. I figured that that's what a lot of games were doing, but then I forgot that certain examples, no, it's very clear that's what it was. I just forgot about it. But yeah, I forgot that was a feature. So everybody who was upset, I'm sorry. I did forget that was a feature. The reason I was so quick to cut Chris off on it too is because I was talking about the PS1 Crash games anyways, and he mentioned the whole D-pad thing. He did say PS2. I thought he said PS1. Because we were talking about Crash. That wasn't a thing on the PS1. But yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. I made a big mistake. Song pisses me off. Here, we can get this song to not be playing right now. Let's go here. Can I get an explanation on why you're not allowed to get the sub button? The reason I can't get the sub button is because you have to submit forms on various information, and I don't know why it is. Oh, can I get him to make a goofy face? That's not very goofy. These faces aren't so goofy. But for whatever reason, I submitted a form at the beginning, and they're like, "Okay, yes, we can verify that this is you." Then I submitted the other forms that they needed, and now they keep sending me messages back saying, "Oh, we cannot verify these, please resubmit." And they're not telling me why. They keep just saying a vague message about how they couldn't verify. And I've done everything. I've sent like 20 different forms to them. I keep changing. If I have a middle initial, sometimes I just scrap the middle name, sometimes I type the whole thing out. I keep switching every little bit I can. I've used all my different addresses, everything. They keep saying it's not valid. I don't know what else I can do at this point. If they're gonna just fight against actual information, I don't know what I can do anymore. Also, that's a fun little thing you can do. Now he has this on him. I wonder if he has it in the true ending cutscene if I get over there. Imagine dying on this stage. Probably more likely now because of the pill hitbox that you can die on this one. I almost did just there. Oh, the purple disappeared. Maybe they didn't mean for it to be there because it disappears on its own after a while. Also, this is going to be really loud when I get over here because the, for whatever reason, when you change audio levels around, they do have different audio levels for the cutscenes, but I don't know why it is, they don't work properly. So if I set the audio levels for the voices down, you hear it in the cutscenes, but nothing else gets lower. The music is still loud, the sound effects are still loud, the voices get lowered though. So you can barely hear the voices, but you hear everything else. Are you into fuck Tana? I wouldn't do it. Crash can have her. But here, if for everyone just tuning in, take a look at the bottom right. We are all done. Every single platinum is done. We do not need to play this. Crash 1 is over, finished, old news. Get it out of here. Oh, hey, Dustin. Dustin, I did it. I did it when I wasn't even on the stream, so I panicked and I paused it right away to start the stream up because I didn't think I was going to get it. Anyways, here I'll read some donations off that were from last stream because I didn't get to finish. We were in a hurry. Whoops! I just spun the mic. We were in a hurry, so I didn't get to get a bunch done. I like that also now that I've acknowledged these threads, every time that someone makes a post, everyone gets paranoid thinking it's me posting. I have a what's it on 4chan because way back Julian made a thread and I made one too, so you would know if I was posting. It's not me doing it, but that's fine. Let's see. Let's get these donations open. But yeah, thanks for everyone who sat through this. Yeah, trip code. I'm a moron. Sorry. I'm still. My heart is racing. My little heart is racing. I didn't think I was gonna do it. I'm glad I caught it. So let's read these donations off. Thanks for joining me on this wild journey through Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. Crash 1. To everyone saying do Crash 2 now, I really don't want to. Listen, big part of Crash 2, I'd say there's at least, how many levels would there be? Probably 5, 6 levels that rely on ice physics. Cold Hard Crash used to be one of my favorite levels. As much as the backtracking in it sucks, I love that one part when you're skating really fast and dodging the nitro crates because you get to feel how good the controls in the PS1 game are. Ice physics in this are ruined, and on top of that, if you slip off anything, like if you slip off a crate and you get pushed back onto the ice, for whatever reason that adds momentum to you. So if you slip off of a crate and then land on ice, you go flying backwards and you're pretty much dead for free. It's very, very stupid, and it's just enough that it's like, okay, I don't think I want to do Crash 2 in this. This is not going to be fun to play. I'd much rather just play the PS1 Crash 2, which, by the way, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll play the PS1 Crash 2 at some point and go for everything in it. But Crash 1 was actually a lot of fun. Crash 1 was a lot of fun in the Insane Trilogy. The little quirks of the Insane Trilogy sort of get in the way here and there, but not enough to ruin it. Close. Close at points to ruining it, but not enough to ruin it. Crash 2, I think it ruins it. Let's thank you, Bajibis. These are donations from last stream that I unfortunately did not get to read. Thank you, Bajibis, for 5 euros. Huh. They said you can do it. I didn't during that stream. I'm sorry. Hooker Mode donated $5 and said, please don't die in real life. I didn't. Revolting Horse donated $5 and said, stinky child. It's okay, dude, you're doing fine donated $10 and said, I love you, you're fine. Okay. Thank you, Suddenly Birds, for $9.67. No message, but thank you. Don Honk donated $1. Raina donated $3.87. Missed the stream yesterday. Love you, though. Motifa donated $6. Motifa, you donated a lot the other time. Suddenly Birds donated again. $9.13. Gonna even out the donation number. Also, best of luck to your next stream. You got this. I think that's when I was wrapping up. Resbulls donated $10. Another really good stream. Thank you for taking the time out to do it. Good luck with the last relic. I hope you get it. Thank you. And those are all the donations that I missed. Thank you, Trev, 20 minutes ago. Oh my god, $40. Said congrats on all the platinums, dude. Thank you, Trev. $40. Are you sure about that? Do you want me to refund it? You don't have to. I just started. You really don't have to throw that much in. Also, anyone who donates, I've said it to a lot of different people. If you're in like a tight spot or anything, please don't donate. And the option is always there for a refund. Like, just send me a message directly. I can refund you the money. You don't need to do things like that. Swede Fighter, I read your donation last stream. Albums Co. Thank you for $3.62. Congrats on being the lab dingus. Also, good luck with that dang construction going on. Yeah. It's probably going to get in the way if we record today. We were going to record today, but they are yelling out there. They got a jackhammer going. They're breaking glass. I'm hoping they wrap up soon. I really don't know what's happening anymore. It's been going for half a year. If it's like an expansion, I figured it wouldn't take this long. But yeah, it's going for a long time. Hopefully they wrap up in the next month or two. If not, I mean, Julian and I, maybe we'll just look for a different place, because there's no, this is a fun fact, there's no law here regulating rent. Landlords can just jack it up on you whenever they feel like it by however much they want. There's no restriction against that kind of thing. So this place used to be a lot cheaper. This place was like $16.50 or something. Then because the landlord was a lot of fun, jacked it up to almost like $2,100, which is ridiculous. This is not a good place. So now that there's construction going on, it might seal the deal that, hey, this isn't worth it. We can just go somewhere else. But, no, $16.50 isn't very cheap either for a little shitty place, but it's California. $16.50 is considered cheap in California. Elsewhere, I mean, I said it before, I have a friend who has a huge house, second building for a garage, $600 mortgage per month. $600. That's it. Anywhere else, we'd be fine. It's because it's California. You know, the California experience. Jackhammers. Got to pay good money for that. What's the size of your apartment? Not very big. It's relatively small. It's a very tiny 2-room. You ever get woken up by construction? It's been happening daily now, yes. I've been woken up almost every day by construction at this point. So has Julian. Julian usually can go back to bed, though. I can't. I'm a really light sleeper, so every time they start doing this, I get woken up and I can't go back to bed. It's why my sleep keeps getting fucked up, too. It's getting really annoying. It's also why I was streaming partially so late at night. There's no noise at night. Thank you, Lamenting Weasel, for $20. Congrats on the 100%, my beautiful boy. How's the progress been on Trigger and Bitbee? Are you going to do more work streams? I like hearing your opinion on games and thoughtful insights. I'm going to try to hold off on more of that. Usually I like streams being kind of an open thing that I just can talk about whatever, make discussion. But the past few days, I don't know. This isn't even coming from like the threads on 4chan or anything either, because typically I don't really care about that kind of thing anyways. People always just argue and act cuckoo in there. But people were getting very irritated even just on the subreddit and everything, so it's like, okay, I probably should just hold off then. I think the funniest one I saw was that somebody came in and said that I don't know anything about Dota, and that was, boy oh boy, if they ever came into a prior stream where I've ranted about Dota for like 2 to 3 hours straight because I played it so frequently. But I'm not gonna repeat that sort of thing. That's the other end, is that people wonder why I repeat things or go in circles. It's because I'm streaming and lots of new people come in and ask me things again and again and again. And when it's been like 3 hours, it's like, okay, it's probably a lot of new people in here. I guess I can answer this again. League greater than Dota? No. If you don't like video games, yes. If you don't like trying, yes. If you like throwing your money away, yes. Thank you, Ben Bismont, for $5. Here's a little monetary appreciation for all the chuckles. Thank you. Well, thank you. And Dustin, you don't have to donate. Can I? It's $5, but I'll still refund it. Dustin donated $5 and said, "Have a few bucks. Great job getting those platinums. Looking forward to the future streams." Well, thank you. I like the characters of Lrag. The Dota characters are bland. League of Legends has some of the most embarrassing character designs I think I've ever seen. You can have your what's his name, Master Yi. You can have him. You can have all your Yordles. You can have fun with all that. Dota also has probably like half hour of voice clips recorded for every character, so at least if there's a bland design, which there's plenty of them, at least they're given actual characterization. But there's some good designs in Dota. There's a few that I actually like a decent amount, but far between. That's a lot of it just doesn't stand out much to me. I think that's just what's going to happen with these games in general, though. It's a problem that comes with a lot of these things. Overwatch, a lot of the designs there don't interest me. It's because people want to go safe with designs. People typically don't want to do too much, so they can appeal to a wider audience. Overwatch has... I like Zenyatta. I think he's he's a decent design. Roadhog is okay. Is that it? Usually it's concepts that I like Junkrat. I could get behind as a concept. The design itself is just okay. Nothing there stands out too much to me. I like Diva's mech a lot. I think Diva has a really cool looking mech. I don't think Diva is very interesting though. But it's why I couldn't even convince Julian to play it with me. He just looked at all the characters like, yeah, these all look really boring. And you can make the argument too, like, well, yeah, but you know, the gameplay, that's what's important, but it's also Overwatch. It's not necessarily that important in Overwatch. It's meant to be just kind of a fun little game. When you try to get into competitive in that game, it's a mess. Oh my god. Sweet Fighter Chris donated $96. Sweet Fighter Chris, you did not have to. Okay. You did not have to donate that much. Please, with that one, at least let me give you a refund. I haven't even done anything on this stream yet. Please. Oh my god. Holy cow. Sweet Fighter Chris. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Oof. I just feel bad now. That's too much. That's too much. Also, even though we are raising money for equipment, SGDQ is going right now. So if people want to be donating during these streams, you might just want to consider throwing money over there because they're actually doing a good charity this time around. I've talked about it in the past that they sometimes pick kind of no good charities, but Doctors Without Borders is a very good charity, and anytime they've had them, I've always donated. It's one of the few I would say is actually pretty good. Although at the same time, SGDQ, I don't know how much of a cut they take now. It might just be better to donate directly, because after the speedrun marathons became like an official organization that they registered and everything, I know they take a substantial amount from that, which is a little bit concerning. But Sweet Fighter Chris, thank you again. Oh my god. I thought they always did Doctors Without Borders. No. Recently, more often than not, it's just cancer awareness foundations, which don't really do much. Doctors Without Borders is actually a pretty good cause. Yeah, AGDQ. SGDQ does Doctors Without Borders. Okay. That's kind of sad because one is doing more. Yeah, Beefaroni's actually in the lead by a lot. Yeah, exactly. Cancer awareness is not the same thing as actual research. It's a different sort of thing. It makes people think that they're donating towards actual like research towards preventing cancer, but that's not actually what the organizations typically are doing. It's usually not the best place to be throwing money towards because it's not doing as much as Doctors Without Borders is actually like I said, it's actually a really good cause because these are people going out there and actually volunteering to help in all sorts of just different hellish situations on Earth where people are being brutally maimed and people are just going out of their way to help no matter what. It's worthy of donating to. But Final Fantasy VII, all of the names are in there if people are donating to SGDQ. There's Beefaroni is going to win for sure, I think, because even one of the announcers wanted it to win. But Lambini is in there for Barrett. I think it's only at $57. It needs to get bumped up a couple hundred. Bimblor is there for Cloud. Pastilda is there for Eris. Ding Dong a little quiet for anyone else. Okay, now you're being silly. Turn your volume up. That's not. There's no game audio. That's a little bit on your end. If it's quiet, I'm sorry. I can try to turn it up more, I guess. Is that any better? Oh. And I just spilled all over myself to try to adjust the volume. So that's no good. Here comes Julian. Static too loud. Well, I can't do anything about that. Yes, I got all the platinums. This game is all done. There's nothing left. Julian's not in the back anymore. He just walked out to go to the bathroom. I like that one post, the LOL, oh man, yes, these threads. That's I remember when Julian had made the thread, there was a guy in there who was really, really mad that Julian had made a thread, and he was spamming that constantly. I think he actually got banned, which was funny, because these sorts of threads don't really belong on V to begin with. They should be getting cleaned off of there. And that means the moderator went in and did not decide to delete the thread, but instead thought this guy was making a big enough fool of himself that they just ended up banning him instead. Because he spammed the thread for like a half hour, just pasting the same thing, getting really, really mad that Julian had made a thread, and he just got banned right away. But that's what that copy paste is from. Are you going to stream a second game? I am. I'm going to actually do that in a second here. Just trying to think of what to get. No. Well, also, I don't like the phrase e-celeb to begin with, because that's giving it weight. It shouldn't be referred to as that. Stupid Let's Play shit should not get celeb attached to it in any way at all. But no, that doesn't belong on V. V in general is already a shithole. But yeah, no, that doesn't deserve to be on there. I've said that before all the time, but people are going to post it no matter what. He's making fun of us again. Did I? Did I? I'm talking about V. I like that happens every thread too, is that someone says that. You're on 4chan. How is this how's this a thing that bothers you? I guess I shouldn't answer that. Oh well. I'm gonna try to figure out what game to play now though. Probably something on Super Nintendo. I kind of just want to be able to relax a little bit. How long did it take you today to do the lab? That's what's upsetting. It took me like, I'd say 30 to 40 minutes. I only played it for a little bit. I was rusty with it again. Then I just started experimenting with different timings at the beginning to see if I could figure out a better one, and it just ended up happening. I realized you can shave off a little bit of time at the end with the level geometry if you can not slip off of it thanks to the pill-shaped hitbox. If you can just get to the end of that before the ground closes back in, if you can get to the end of the geometry there and then jump back onto it as soon as it closes, you actually can save about half a second. And by doing that, when you get in the next room, the electricity is going to start just as you get past it. So you can just barely clear the level. But like I said too, I actually had a run where I was about to get it and I cleared the lightning and I was really excited and landed on the TNT crate. It pushed me off. Crash was like stuck in it with his arms up for a half second, then gets pushed out of it and just falls off a cliff. So that was pretty upsetting, but doesn't matter. Would you play Third Strike anytime soon? No. Only if I get some good practice in. I have not played in years and years and years. I will be awful at it. What do you think of this fun police? Oh, is this a clip from AGDQ? Is this from SGDQ? Like, did this happen a few days ago or something? It's really slow to load for some reason. I gotta give it a bit. Internet out here sucks. I'm sorry. I'll try to load it though, because I want to see what happens here. Dota has better Bara Daddy. It sure does. Brewmaster is a good one. He's a big favorite. Beefaroni isn't winning anymore? Really? What's beating it? If Beefaroni isn't winning, you have to go and vote for Beefaroni. Unless they manually took Beefaroni out. Oh, fuck that. Peanut butter. That's stupid. Why would anyone want that name? Is that because someone else put that in as like a shout out to themselves or something? Peanut butter's winning. It's probably one of his... Whoever put that name in, it's probably one of their friends. Yeah. All the other names are in there too, like Bimblor and everything, but at least get Beefaroni to win. That's tonight, by the way, is Final Fantasy VII. So instead of donating to this stream, I say go over to SGDQ and donate towards Beefaroni. Peanut butter is a really stupid name. I think that's what it is. The guy who probably put the name in just voted on it again by throwing 500 in. It's a stupid name. Okay, let's clip load it. Let's see. Here's the funny Doge. Is that the actual staff? Is that what just happened? Did he really just come in to take that because he's mad about it? Oh my god. Is this out of context? Is this just something else? Is this like this guy taking it, left it there or something? Don't tell me that's the actual staff coming in. Because that's really silly. There's a video that there's the dumb Doge meme sitting on the chair, and then some guy walks over, points to it, asks the guy about it, and then just picks it up and takes it and walks off with it. I don't know if it's I don't know if I don't know. This might not be a big deal. The guy's asking him something. The guy shakes his head. I think he's just asking if it's his, and he's just taking it because it's been left there. But it's, they do stupid things like that. They do, get angry about that sort of thing now. Play Tomba Klonoa Mega Man Legends. We have to fix the laser. Yeah, go donate if you're feeling like donating to the stream. Go donate to SGDQ. There's a big donate button at the bottom of their stream. It's bottom left on Twitch. You can just find their stream because it's like one of the featured ones right now. Donate towards Beefaroni on Final Fantasy VII. Peanut Butter is a stupid name to have win, and I'm pretty sure it's just some guy trying really hard to push his own name or something, because it's not a... People are asking me about that too. They thought I put Beefaroni in. I actually didn't put that one in. I didn't put any of those in. I'm glad those are in there though. I put 500 towards Earthbound. I didn't actually do it towards that. There's a picture of my favorite Digimon. All the PS3 Digimon games are on big sale. Get Digimon World next order if you want to play with your special boy. What are the new Digimon games even like? Yeah, Beefaroni had a huge lead. It was significant. It's at like 2,000 or something. It's a huge lead. So, I guess that's all it takes is for someone to get really mad that their lame name isn't getting in. Have you heard the big news that Saw is getting rebooted? Oh boy, cool. Can we get a reboot though of Paranormal Activity? Have any thoughts on Magic the Gathering? I don't actually remember it too well because I didn't play it too often. I remember I had the PC game of it from like, what, 1999 or something. They did one for the PC. I remembered I had a bunch of those joke cards too. Like there was the one that you rip into pieces and you throw the little bits of confetti around and whatever it lands on. Those cards get removed from the game. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if peanut butter is supposed to be a reference to the peanut butter gamer. That's apparently peanut butter thing is from the Ori community. It's not even, I just don't get it because it's not a funny name in any way. It's not an interesting name. They couldn't even fit the whole word peanut butter. So is that the name of a runner or something? I don't know. It could just be the name of a guy who runs certain games or something, I guess. That makes sense. Who would you let vor you? Scroll up a couple posts. There's Slark with Tide Hunter. I never really was that wild about that image. I think Slark is actually a really good design, but a lot of artwork they don't do too much with him. There's some actually really good drawings of him though. I think he's probably one of the best designs that's actually from Dota 2. I'm trying to think of others. Faceless Void they kind of ruined a little bit. He's still alright. His original design was fine though. He didn't need a redesign. I always kind of liked him though. Yeah, Sven's a good design too. Juggernaut's alright. Who else? Trying to think of more other ones that stand out. It was funny seeing Omni Knight get so much relevance over time, because Omni Knight used to... I used to even just completely forget he existed. Omni Knight didn't pop up very often, and then over time he actually became more and more of a force to reckon with. Don't call the Doge meme dumb. It is dumb. It's also ancient. I do think it's a little bit depressing though if that's actually what happened. If they really remove that because they don't want to have any fun being there. Can't have anything goofy sitting on the chairs anymore. I'm guessing it's because they want to free up space for the chairs, but at the same time, a lot of the runs, the chairs are completely empty. It's depressing. They moved the chairs back already, which makes the room not feel as exciting anymore. But then you sometimes see a view of the chairs and there's just nobody sitting there. No, it is a cute dog. That's Kabosu, right? No, Kabosu's the cute dog. I hate that it caught on as a meme only because I've always thought Shiba Inus were really cute dogs. And now it's like, oh, now they're the meme dog. Can't like them anymore. That's one of the few instances, though, where someone would drag that up like, oh, it's a meme, you can't like it. And I would just say, no, shut up, I don't care. It's a cute dog. They're like the size of a cat. They act like cats, too. They're cute dogs. We saw one at Little Tokyo, and it was really friendly. It was walking up to everyone. It was really cute. Does someone think they got blocked? Because I don't think I've ever blocked anyone. Kabosu's probably a really spoiled dog, though, because all the videos of Kabosu is a dog just eating everything out of their owner's hand. If they're holding anything up, the dog just comes over and tries to bite their hand to get it. Then all the cats in the house come over and do the same thing. Probably all a bunch of spoiled pets. No, I don't block anybody. I'm sure people hope for it. The fact that I respond to almost everyone and try to be kind of open about things probably gets people more inclined to lash out. But I'm not going to block anyone over it. I don't care. How do you feel about Liquid Television? I like Liquid Television a lot. There's a lot of experimental things that came through it. I really enjoyed that about it. It was a cool thing that got to exist. But then at the same time, I really hate MTV because they wouldn't ever give anything a chance anyways after all of that. After that little window, they just stopped trying with anything. They would pick up a show and then kill it almost immediately if they did anything animated. Everyone's grandpa. A lot of people always say that too. A lot of people always think that that's what I do. I don't even have moderators in here. If I haven't responded to someone, it's probably I either just didn't see it or I didn't really have a response to make to it. Yeah, I can put a clip of the last Relic on Twitter. When do we get more Final Fantasy VII? We have to figure that out. Also, let me change what the game says on the Twitch right now, because I'm just going to be reading some stuff off for a bit before switching games, because my hand is still in pain a little bit. Just want to take a little bit of a break, so probably like hour long breather here, and then I'll set up another game. Let me change it from Insane Trilogy, because I don't want people coming in and being like, what is this? Why don't you play? I'm actually finished now. I'm finished. I did all of Crash 1. I'm finished. Oh. But Final Fantasy 7, we'd have to figure out something. We'd have to probably play it on the PC and use that thing that they have to modify your save file so we can get back to where we were with the same everything. Catch back up, then get our save file from the office, and then play it again. We like to go back to it. We have audio from our last session, even though we lost the video. And I said it before, I think that was one of the times we were the most on point we've ever been. We had so much fun with it, and I was upset that we lost it. There's 2 porn drawings of games that I've worked on. I like that first one. That second one, I don't think it's gonna do much because it's Bippy. Anyways, Bippy's I thought Bippy was designed already to be kind of a character that can't really lend itself to that sort of thing. It's such a simplified design. I guess I was wrong. Can you give us an exclusive as to what the next Oni Plays game is? Or is it officially a Crash channel now? We were just playing a lot of Crash because we're kind of leading into playing the Insane Trilogy, which was probably a mistake because people hate the Insane Trilogy videos. I noticed too the audio balancing kind of fell off in the last videos. But yeah, the worst thing too is I was trying really hard to just stay focused on trying to make jokes during it. And we got a ukulele situation going with it. People are really bothered by it. And I'm surprised that people are still lumping it onto me, because maybe I haven't watched most of the videos. Maybe it got edited to make it seem like I'm saying the most. I was trying to stay really quiet during it. And anytime anyone said something, I usually interrupted by just saying like, Chris or Julian. I usually said stuff like that to try to kind of get it to stop. But no, people are very bothered by them. Other YouTubers were even coming in and like complaining, saying like, "Oh, I don't like the constant negativity." But I think we were we said repeatedly too, like, "Hey, it exceeded our expectations. It's actually pretty decent. You can still have criticisms while still liking it, but it makes sense for the fact that it's a channel that people just want goofy jokes. They don't want anyone saying anything." Ukulele was a bit boring. It was. I was not happy with that series. I wasn't even awake for that series. I took like a 2-hour nap before we did it, and I was just passed out. I couldn't do it. I love the comment from the Boomba one that you responded to. I didn't respond. Oh, Chris responded to someone, yeah. Will you ever get a sub button? I don't know anymore. I was talking about this because now people are going to say like, oh, he's going in a loop. I think it's been long enough because someone just asked it again for anyone wondering why I sometimes repeat things during streams. Someone just asked this when I talked about it earlier, but they want forms and documents when you're going to get a partnership on Twitch, or if you're getting like if you're going to be an affiliate, you have to do it too. And I gave them the first information. They're like, okay, just give us this and you're set to go. I gave them it like it's almost been a month now. I gave them it. They keep sending me emails saying, no, this information doesn't line up. Send it again. And I've sent it like 20 times now. I don't know what else I can do. I've contacted Twitch support. I've done everything. Twitch support just gives me automated messages saying they can't help me with this. When I've tried to talk to them about it, they say like, oh, no, we can't. Just send it again. And every time they tell me they reject it, they don't say why. They just say, it's not correct. Send it again. So I've sent it like 20 times now, and they've rejected it over and over and over and over and over. I don't know what I can do. I don't know if I'm getting a sub button now, because this is actually getting out of hand how much they've been rejecting information that's accurate too. I've tried putting in old addresses. I've tried changing names. I've included my middle name. I've removed it. I've added a middle initial. I've removed it. I've done everything. I seriously don't know. Oh yeah, hey Mika. Yeah, I got it. There's the salt emoticon for some reason. Hey Mika. I did it off stream, Mika. I actually had to play a video file of it because I panicked. I was practicing it for like a half hour before I went live, and by some kind of fluke, I ended up getting it. So I paused the game like immediately. I freaked out, and I turned the stream on. Thank you to whoever told me how to play the video clip back. Grunt of Action, I've tried. I've tried contacting them through Twitter. I just don't think it's going to happen. What's your least favorite series? Oh boy, probably Ukulele. Might actually be Crash now. I think Crash, the Insane Trilogy, I think that might actually be my least favorite now. In fact, I think it is. Ukulele, I think we at least made some good jokes during. I think Crash is probably one of the weakest. I can't think of what are other ones. I guess the Rugrats one wasn't that great. Yeah, Mika, I used the I did the thing I was doing before, that I was timing spinning the box at the beginning and watching the door opening and closing to get a good timing for it. And the only advice I can give Mika, the reason I got it was because when I got to the end of the level, to try to skip the electricity at the end, what I ended up doing was when I jumped on the geometry, which is really hard to do because you can slip off so easy, but I kept trying to go off the side of the level. I kept trying to run up as far as I could before the floor closed again. So when the floor closed, like exactly, I jumped back onto it and then ran up to the next spot. And by doing that, you save about half a second, and that half a second is enough to get you past the electricity in the next room without getting electrocuted by it. So you can bounce off the TNT to the end and be okay. It's insane. It's ridiculous. Now everyone's going to make the Insane Trilogy joke because I said insane. It's crazy, though. It's almost all luck dependent on you lining up that pattern perfect throughout the level. And then I'll say this, I'm happy because that's one of the few levels that the global timer system actually works consistently. I thought it didn't. Then I got to learn that no, it actually kind of does. So that's good to know. But yeah, it's just dependent on that. That's all you have to do. You just need to have everything timed perfect, and you can't choke at any point. You just need to do a straight run. It's not a thing you can suggest anything for. You just have to be hopeful and lucky. Because I was having people tell me that as I was running it, like, well, I got it. Here's tips and tricks. I just got it, and I don't have tips and tricks. There aren't any. It really is just luck dependent on that one. There's the point of getting to where it's possible for you to get the time by memorizing the layout and being able to get the timing close at the beginning. There's that. But once you pick up on that, there's nothing else. There is nothing else after that. Once you get the hang of that, there's nothing left. it's just luck from that point on. You need to be hopeful you can make it. When are starting the torture? What torture? I beat the game already. I could do 2. I don't really want to. I don't really want to do 2 or 3. You should play the Simpsons game. We tried to. That was actually going to be our first Only Plays video of us in California. We tried to play the Simpsons game, and it was so boring that we just dropped it. It was such a boring game. Any plans to do FMV games? Yes, absolutely. We have the Sega CD. Yes, we are thinking about it. Do you actually play Dota 2 or do you just enjoy the art? I played it for over 2,000 hours, I think, way back. I used to be very, very into it. Dota buff, I was in the top 100 for 2, was it 3? I think it was only 2 heroes. Might have been 3, I don't remember. This was years ago. But I was in the top 100 for a few of the heroes I used. With Slurkin specific, I actually moved up to like, saying 20th or something. I moved up really high, although that doesn't mean anything. It's Dota buff. That's their own crazy system. Doesn't mean much. One of my friends is actually like 3rd, 2nd as Puck. So we'd play all the time. And whenever we went as a group, we pretty much won like every game, but going in without a full 5 stack, you get to see the worst side of the matchmaking, because it's like, okay, well, this game is not designated to work around that. If you're a solo player, good luck. It's gonna do whatever, and you have a solo MMR, so it can just be kind of dependent on whoever you get stuck with. I think it was at like 5.6 or something, 5.6k MMR when I was solo, and I actually lost a lot of that because I was going to do a video discussing Dota 2. I wanted to do a whole video breaking it down, and I was doing experiments within matchmaking to show certain things off. A lot of people always advise you to play 1 game a day. Reason that that's good advice is because after you finish a game, if you just search again, you might get put with the same exact people. If you lost the last match and you're put with them again, guess what? You might just lose another match because of it. And I actually had that happen when I was recording the video. I wonder if I still have some of it. I post my first video on Twitter is actually what was going to be in that video. Was how some of the people acted in matchmaking too. But I got stuck with a guy who intentionally started feeding out the door because he didn't like me during that match, since I built a non-conventional item for the hero I was playing. But the reason I built the item is because it actually perfectly countered the other team. And by like 29 minutes, I actually had 13, 14 kills already. I had a ton of gold. We were in a good position to just kind of take the match. But since he kept intentionally feeding, it didn't really matter. We had one person on our team who was at a good level. And then we have someone who's not leveled at all. And then the other team just got to catch up off of that. And I reported him for intentional feeding, and this was to show off how the report system doesn't really work. Communication is automatic. If you report someone for communication abuse and they get a couple of reports towards communication, they automatically get muted, automatically get thrown to low prio if it keeps happening. But reporting someone for intentionally feeding doesn't actually do anything. He was in my games because I was doing that as an experiment. I kept searching for games. He ended up on my team seriously 4 times in a row. Did the same thing each game, intentionally fed, reported him each game for intentional feeding. Nothing ever happened to him. I played it religiously way back, and after noticing things like that, I was starting to kind of lose faith in it a bit. And then how Valve was supporting it after the whole Shanghai situation and everything. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't even pretend to care about it anymore. I was hating the decisions Valve was making. There's so little support going for the game. Those compendiums, they decided more and more like, hey, instead of us actually like on the spot going, oh shit, we're making a lot of money. Let's try to get new features going. Let's hire new people on. They didn't do it. It was just getting too out of hand. They didn't care about the game anymore. They just wanted to leech money off the few people who were still dedicated. They made fools of themselves plenty of time over. I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to play it anymore. I got sick of it. But I used to play it all the time. I used to really be into it. What was even worse is the Reddit community would defend Valve on every decision they made. They removed playing it, like searching for solos specifically. That used to be a feature. They removed it, and it was gone for like 2 years, and everyone on the subreddit would always insist, no, Valve knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And then apparently they reintroduced it back recently, and everyone's like, oh, finally. Everyone just kind of bends over to whatever Valve does, and Valve doesn't even know what they're doing. So I'm not going to keep talking about it. I've talked about Dota God knows how many times, but I was really, really into it way back. MOBAs are not games typically for me. I've also said how I don't really like calling them MOBAs anyways. That's a term League of Legends coined just because after Dota 2 became their competition, they had to pretend it was a genre. Their website used to reference Dota left and right because Dota was just a mod at the time. Then it became a full-fledged game that they were going to have to compete with, so they removed all references to Dota and just said that they were their own thing. And it's a MOBA. It's a new genre. It was I don't want to go into it much more, but someone on our subreddit actually said that they left a comment saying like, all I can tell from his streams is he knows nothing about Dota. And you probably came into a stream recently where I mentioned it for probably 15 seconds or something, because I talked about how 50-50 matchmaking is not a good thing, and how Dota actually does not do 50-50 matchmaking. I acknowledge that. It doesn't. Other games do. I said it because I overheard someone talking about Overwatch saying how it's 50-50 and how that's a good thing. And also, I don't think Overwatch is forced 50-50. But that's not a reason for any game to have good matchmaking, is just because it's 50-50 that you win half your games, you lose half. That's not a sign of the matchmaking working. Because in a situation, if you were a very high-skilled player, for example, it shouldn't probably be 50-50 then, should it? You should probably have just slightly more wins than losses at that point, which Dota actually did that. Dota, as much as I don't like its matchmaking, because when you're higher skill, they start lumping you in with people who are... Your searches become really long, because once there's less players for it to put you with, searches become longer and longer. And they changed it after the original beta, so matchmaking goes quicker. So it tries to prioritize worse matches just so you get into a game quicker, and which I don't like. A lot of pro players don't like that either, because it's a silly system. People would rather wait longer for a good match as opposed to waiting slightly less time to get a really shitty match that's going to be one-sided for one team or the other. But I remember that happening. I remember numerous times you get matched up and here's my team. Everyone here is a mix between 5K to 3K for some reason. 3K players matched up with people who are like 5.5K, 5.7K. You get someone in there who's 3K, or you get two people in there who are 3K because they're that sort of thing too. Stacks suck. If you're matched up with stacks, they're always going to just shit talk you the whole time because you're the odd man out. That sort of thing always sucked too. That's why it was unfortunate that solo got removed, because you get people like that. But that happens all the time, especially when you're at people who are in like 7, 8K, people who are that high up. They get matched all the time in situations like that. Typically, they'll get matched up with other people who are perfectly aligned with them and everything, but after like waiting for 20 minutes. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes they get really low skill players thrown in with them just to get the match over with already, and it just ends it because it's like, all right, well, we got stuck with a bad player. Oh, okay, you win. Great. It's frustrating. Yep. People who are that high up frequently have that happen, that they get stuck with low skill players on their own team and either have the misfortune of being matched with people around their skill level with a similar situation, so it's just a gamble, or they end up with that, like someone just typed in the chat, they get put with people who are slightly lower than them. It's a ridiculous system. That shouldn't ever end up happening. It really shouldn't. A game should not decide on that sort of thing. A game should not have to just go like, okay, you know what? Whatever. They're good enough, right? Throw one bad player in. Who cares? Dota's not the right kind of game for that. If it was something else, if it was just like a basic arena shooter or something, maybe that could work because skill's a big factor there, but Dota is all about the teamwork. If you throw in one person who doesn't know how to play with 4 other people who know how to play and the other team all know how to play, the team who has the one person that doesn't, they're going to lose. Teamwork means everything. Structure and teamwork means almost everything. You cannot compromise that, which unfortunately ends up happening with that matchmaking system sometimes. That's why it's irritating. Anyways, I'll shut up. I've talked about Dota God knows how many times during streams now. But to anyone who the guy who said that on the Reddit, that I probably don't know a thing about it, only played it for a little bit. Hopefully that makes it a little more clear that I have played it a lot. I just don't like talking about it during streams because I've obsessed about it too many times, and it's probably not fun to listen to. Yeah, Sandra, I was noticing Overwatch just kind of does whatever. It's because Overwatch also doesn't really have anything too visible for you to gauge these sorts of things either. For the longest time, Valve didn't even want you to see your MMR because they were afraid that you were going to, which by the way, that's matchmaking rank, but they didn't want you to see what your rank was because they were worried like, oh, people are going to make fun of each other for it and everything. And that's what happened to Overwatch. Overwatch is like the most extreme I've seen that, where they won't even show you detailed game stats once the match ends. You're not allowed to know how your team did. You're not allowed to know how anyone did. All you can see is medals and those cards at the end. That's it. And those cards are there to make people feel good. Oh, your teammate used his ultimate at one point. He didn't do anything with it, but he used it. He gets a card. It is the worst end of game screen I have ever seen just because of that. People want to take this game seriously. People want to play Overwatch competitively. If you can't even get detailed statistics, that actually hurts a little bit because that's what people want. If you're going to improve, you want to see that sort of thing. Holding off on that is ridiculous, and that's the only reason they did it. It's to make people feel good. It worked too. It worked. People love it. People love that sort of thing. Like I got 3 gold medals. I got a card at the end. People will say that sort of thing, or they'll say like, look at my level. Look how high my level is. That means I'm really good at this game. No, it just means you played a lot. That doesn't mean anything. It's not a good system, and that's why it exists. It's a way to make people not feel discouraged. And I'm glad if that makes other people happy. I can't care for that at all. That does nothing for me. I'm someone who cares about that. I always want to track how my performance in a match went. I want to weigh it in compared to everybody else. I want to know how to work on things. That's what I like. I've heard that Overwatch wants to actually start giving detailed stats. I hope they do. That'd be great if they actually did that. There used to be a scoreboard before official release. They got rid of it. I mean, that's probably why they did. Like I said, if people enjoy that system, that's fine. I can't care for it. It doesn't That just makes me disappointed. Also, if I do bad, I want to see that I did bad. I would like to see that I did the worst on the team. I don't want to be given a pity card because, he used an ultimate, good job. I don't want that either. Because it does that. I've ended up in matches like that too. I've ended up in matches where I provided almost nothing and I feel bad about it, but no one's aware of it because they don't get to see statistics at the end for it. Or I've ended up in matches with the opposite where you have a teammate who's really acting like, oh, I did so much. And you know for a fact that they didn't, but there's no proof of it at the end. People can just say that they got silver or gold. And unless you have gold medals for those things, you have no proof of it. It's a system that exists because it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to be like, oh, so you get to feel good. But because there's no actual solid evidence of these things, if it's not there on the end screen, people can just make it up and say they got it. And it just ends to more situations like that where people are just going to lie about how they did. It doesn't help anyone. It's just to make people feel good. And that's the worst, is when people insist they did well when they did not. And that's why I really can't get behind a system like that. I do not like that. I don't like people getting to be put into spots like that. Overwatch I had okay fun with for a little bit, but I didn't really stick with it because I don't think it was interesting enough. There's not enough there. Also, I will be starting a game in a little bit. I'm just about ready to. Just reading off a couple more things. People posted a lot of porn of Slark. Yeah, I heard they removed the plushes from the speedrun marathons, which is silly. It's the kangaroo boxer from Bomberman or something, but blue. You didn't even remember the game, Bomberman. I think you're talking about Klonoa. Even then, it's not exactly the same design. In fact, I forgot about that character completely. I was thinking of, there's the kangaroo boss from Mega Man X that has the headgear. I brought this up during a stream. The best example that I also forgot about, but I probably got inspiration from without realizing it. That's the worst one. I don't think anyone's ever going to find that one, though, but I'll throw it out there because everyone, usually a design always comes from somewhere anyways, but there's the Shiba Inu that's in the game's code for Danganronpa 2, and his model file is labeled Inu, and he has the little headgear on, and he looks like he's got angry eyes because of it. And so it's a very simple design. Still doesn't look the same though, but it's closer. But that's just a thing that they do in a lot of Japanese games. They have like kangaroos that wear the boxing gloves and headgear, or things like that. It's a common thing that pops up a lot, so it's just kind of being based around seeing that a whole bunch of times. Bomberman, though, that's not the right one. Bomberman has Louis. Do you like the Max? I enjoyed the Max a lot. I thought the Max was a lot of fun. I remember I had it on VHS. What was the other one? Because they spun off a few things from Liquid Television. That was one of them. They did Aeon Flux, which I really enjoy. despite also recognizing some of the shortcomings that came from it when it became a series. But the original pilot for Aeon Flux, I think, is still one of the most interesting bits to it. Is it just called The Head? I remember I didn't care for that one at all. Yeah, The Head. I remember it didn't do anything for me. If you could bring any game studio back from the dead, who would you pick? Yeah, someone type Clover. Clover probably would be one, because that's when they're still through Capcom and everything too. Although Capcom at this point is not in a good spot, so probably not. That means you'd have to revive Capcom too. I'm not sure. The problem is, I think that's a flawed question to begin with, because the industry now doesn't really get to work with a lot of these game studios. They would not create the same games if they existed now. You couldn't just revive them. You would need to revive them and put them in a bubble so they had the old mentality they had and not be influenced by where things are going currently. So because of that one, I have no idea. I don't know. Isn't Platinum the new Clover? Essentially, yeah. Platinum is plenty of the people from Clover, yes, but it's not the exact same team, and it's also not under Capcom, nor are they treated too well when being funded for projects, and people have been interfering with them a lot too when they're on certain projects. And that also goes alongside like the whole hypothetical here. If I was to say Clover, I'd want that to be like their old mentality and everything, because at this point, Platinum has gotten into a little bit of the samey territory with a lot of the stuff that they've been doing. I don't know. It's a hard one. You'd have to expand on the question more, I think. Bippy should have some kind of boyfriend. That is not going to be in the game. I don't feel like ham-fisting in something like that for no reason. How'd Tiny Tiger Tuesday go? A lot of people drew stuff for it, and Julian was very, very happy. Did you spend any time in the Chicago suburbs when you lived there? Yeah. I mean, when I grew up, I was in the suburbs around Chicago. God, I moved so many times when I was younger. There were a lot of times. I think I brought this up during a stream. It's weird to me now, thinking back to this sort of thing, because a lot of people get like homesick because they've only moved once or twice. I was quick to move beyond that point because I've moved so many times now. I think I still look back fondly on my first home growing up in as a kid and everything, but that's because I grew up there as a baby boy. It was a nice place, though. I do miss it. I'm not doing a Dota 2 video. I was thinking about it for the longest time. I was really going to go into it. I was going to talk about it for like 2 hours. I had a lot written and everything. I had so much ready for it. And just as I was starting to record it, the International happened. They did a huge patch, changed everything significantly. So it would mean I'd have to go back, scrap everything, rewrite a whole bunch of it. And then the problem with all that was just like, okay, well, then who's to say this isn't going to happen again? Anyways, this video is going to be outdated by the time it goes up. What, I'm going to keep doing revisions on this video or something? It wasn't worth doing a video on. In a way it was, but in another way, it's not something you could keep up with. You'd have to keep updating it, essentially, if you wanted to do it. And then on top of that, people, I mean, I have an irritating voice. People don't like hearing me when I talk about stuff, so that would have cemented that even further. I really don't want to do personal videos at all anymore after doing Oni Plays. Dressed as Tom Nook, selling. Well, I mean, Julian was even saying that during a stream. He saw the thread and all the posts people were making, and he even said, like, why are people drawing these? We have characters made for that. Why aren't they drawing that? Why are they drawing this? Because this is rooted in reality, and reality is boring. He kind of has a point with that. Sasuke, I can't believe you joined Orochimaru. Shut up, dweeb. What is it? His cockiness and his big fat kick of fury? That video is a classic. I miss iClone. That was one of my favorite videos. How's Julian's pompadour coming? Oh yeah, he said he was gonna try doing that yesterday. I think he didn't end up doing it. He wants to. To be fair, I have no idea what I want to do with my own hair. I always want to. I always want to just shave it because I'm fine with just having short hair. But then at the same time, I'm at a point that I probably could give it a shot. I don't know if I would though. I've never done it before. Goofy hair is a lot of fun to me, though. I think I already told this story, but when I was a little baby, I remember there's the episode of My Brother and Me with Cool Dr. Money, and he wanted his hair cut just like Cool Dr. Money. And I remember as a kid, I wanted my hair cut like Cool Dr. Money. He had a flat top with his name shaved into it. Right now my hair is just sort of short. It looks butchered because I don't want to pay money to go to a barber right now. We don't go out enough for me to care. I just cut the sides off of it in the back. I just keep it kind of short. There it is. There's Cool Dr. Money. Ever look at the games at AGDG over at VG? That's quite a post to say. I think it's mullet time. I have the back of my hair cut, so that can't happen. I have an inverse. The front of my hair is lengthy, and I have it. It's not even that long, I guess. I just have it kind of going to the side right now. I hate hair. Let me say this too. I hate hair. I really hate it. Because even if you can get it looking the way you want, you're probably not going to keep that for very long. You'll have it for like a couple days. I hate it. I'd be fine for just getting rid of it and shaving it. But Julian suggested the pompadour idea. I could probably try that at some point. I don't know if it's a good idea. How do you feel that Kotaku is going to praise your games because they're made by homosexuals? I don't think they are, because we've said plenty about things right now that we're not big on, so it'd probably bother people like that. See, the prerequisite is not being homosexuals. It's to make games about homosexuals when you're not homosexuals, because that makes you look like a good guy. But personally, I'm fine with short hair. But I do like goofy hairstyles, so maybe I would try something like a pompadour at some point. When I was younger, I always wanted to. Kid from Kid and Play was my idol. I always wanted a flat top like that. Get the nostalgia critic hair. That means removing most of my hair to get there. Do it, Pang. You can be the new age Kid and Play. Wait, did Doug Walker shave his head? Or are you talking about Chris? Because Chris shaved his head. Why don't you work on Bippy art some more on stream? Because we're focusing on Trick or Treat right now, and almost all the art is done for Trick or Treat. I did stream cleanup on it a little bit at one point, but there's not much I can really stream for that game. I can't do like coding streams, because that means like what would I do? I'd have to blur it. I can't let people see the code either, because they could just copy it then. I don't know what to exactly do for that sort of thing. Not to mention we're porting it over into something else now, which is going to take a lot of time. Maybe you know what, if we hit the goal for the new equipment and everything, maybe I'll consider doing coding streams where I just blur the screen and play music. I just kind of look at the chat. Maybe I'll consider doing that or something. Play a game, faggot. Oh. Or are they going to play CTR? I'd like to. Chris said people don't really like watching kart racing games, though. But what is it? 110309450. Just get on it then, because if people just drew more stuff like that, I'm sure Julian would be very happy. He he voiced his disgust with that 2 days ago. Everyone keeps basing it off the avatars because that's more rooted within real life, and he doesn't like that. Yeah, I might consider just doing coding streams or something. I might consider doing that in the future. I'm gonna have to be doing so much time now working on it after we hit the goal for the new equipment. I've already been trying my hardest to work as much in as I can while streaming and everything, which is why my sleep kept going crazier and crazier. But there are so many things that we can get out of this now by porting the code over and kind of starting afresh. There's so much we can get out of this by doing this. I just hope we can get it all knocked out in time, because I'm not perfectly I'm not perfectly knowledgeable about what we're switching it over to, so I don't know if I'd want a pompadour. Everyone who thinks I do, it's because Julian suggested it, and I think hairstyles that are goofy can be fun. I don't think I'd actually want to do it. Get the Heihachi Tekken 1 haircut. Maybe when I'm older. Not really interested in Trick or Treat. I do not blame you at all on that one. But huge fan of hardcore platformers like Dust Force and Super Meat Boy. I'm quite interested. Bippy. Well, Trombe, I'm going to tell you this, because people were assuming that. People were assuming over and over and over again that that's what Bippy is. It's just a game about basic platforming. That's not what it's about. Bippy's going to be more in line with... I've said it before. I don't like comparing it. I don't like comparing anything to other games, but when people have to pitch a game at like E3 or something, it's the worst, because it doesn't tell you anything. You don't care. Hearing like, oh, it's an action strategy RPG that takes place in a future society where you're fighting the corrupt rule of the land with giant robots. Like, that kind of thing tells you nothing. It says nothing. You don't... the story aspect already in a game, that sort of thing, whatever. You don't know what their art style is going to be. All of that doesn't tell you a single thing, really. The premise like that is not what really makes a game. And that's how people always have to pitch games. And then if they're like, oh, the gameplay is like it's a action strategy. They can't go too deep into it through just words. You need to just show it. So, and it sucks because you can't just make comparisons. If you're trying to sell something, if you're pitching something, you can't just make comparisons. You can't just say, oh, this is going to be like this, this, and this. You can't really do that. You can't really reference other people's work. But it's also the most effective way of doing it, honestly, because all ideas always kind of come from other ideas in games anyways. If people liked playing as Zero and Mega Man X4, it's a little bit of that, a little bit of the Astro Boy game on Game Boy Advance, and a little bit of Mischief Makers, with a little bit of it's, when I say X4 Zero, I would say that except for how movement works. The movement's closer to X1 than it is X4, because X4 added some strange delay times onto a couple things and some weird quirks with dashing. For example, Mega Man X1, if you tap a button to dash and you let go of the button, you stop dashing. Mega Man X4, if you're holding forward and you tap a button to dash and you let go of the dash button, you keep dashing because you're holding forward. You have to let go of everything to stop dashing, which I don't like. We don't have Bippy doing that. But it's not going to just be a basic platformer. It's not going to be just like jumping on platforms and everything kills you in one hit. It's not going to be something like that. It's going to be like a proper game. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on movement and movement options, because that usually is what makes a platformer a lot of fun, is having that sort of thing. It's very, very early in development, and a lot of people didn't understand that, I guess. It's seriously at like the beginning of its development. How do I get good at game dev when I'm solo besides just doing it? Try recreating different game genres. Try setting up little engines. Like try to recreate certain games too. Like try to look at platformers. good thing to do to pick up on how they work and everything. Just record. What is the program called? There's a program called AnimGet. That's one way of doing it. If you want a precise frame count, you can just run that next to an application window. It'll make a million screenshots of it for each frame that's different. And by doing that, you can actually capture a... I wouldn't recommend using that necessarily, but just doing even video software or something. AnimGet is what I've always just done because it's precise. It's each and every frame. But by doing that, you can get frame counts on things very easily. You can start to figure out movement in games. Just even recording a clip of a game, slowing down the footage, and just doing frame counts and everything. Doing that, you can sort of analyze how movement works in certain games, and you can understand why they feel the way they do, why they work the way they do. And that's a good way to start picking up on different principles and concepts and everything, and how people kind of handle coding certain things. A lot of effects in games, I felt like a dummy for not realizing that for the longest time. If you just want some basic effects like flickering and everything, it's as easy as just toggling a flag on and off. Or if you want something like an object that bounces up and down consistently, or like is constantly moving up and down, or rotating one way and then the other way on loop endlessly, that's as simple as just getting the sine value or cosine of the game's global timer currently, and it can create that effect for you. I felt like a dummy for not realizing that until I was like 16. I felt so stupid for not realizing that. It's so simple. It should make sense. You know what a sine wave is. It should make sense. But things like that, there's lots of ways to pick up on that kind of thing too, for like just special effects in games and everything. And effects mean a lot too. Effects can add a lot to gameplay. It's why some basic, very, very basic Nintendo and Super Nintendo games can feel so good, just because they give things satisfaction out of doing them. But things like that. There's oh no, high school math, how hard. I mean, and Kane, I was just saying I was like 16 when I realized that, and I felt stupid for it. So okay, you got me. You're very oh, ouchies. I was a dumb baby. I didn't know any better. It's a thing that people don't pick up on either. They don't realize they can do that. That you just get the sine value of like the game timer to create certain effects, or multiply it or divide it out. A lot of people don't actually pick up on that. It is a simple concept, though. You are right. It is very simple. I felt stupid for not realizing for the longest time. I wasn't making fun of you. Okay. I was just saying, though, I figured you were, because it is stupid on my part. It's stupid I didn't realize that. But people don't realize that you need to be taking advantage of things like that anyways. It's why you end up with something like how Nuclear Throne was coded. Nuclear Throne's movement, they might have patched it up later on, but originally you didn't move the way you thought you would. You don't hold a key down and there's like an angle for your movement that it's applying or anything. It's just positioning you consistently. It's just like, okay, add 3 to his X, subtract 3 from his Y if you're holding up to the right. And then because of that, collisions, it's just like, oh, we collided with a wall, push him out by 3. And because of that, you like vibrate when you connect with walls in it. They fixed that up later on, at least. The early builds of it did that, though. You would vibrate against walls and everything. And it's like, how? How did you do that? How did you make that mistake? That's not... But then what's still in there, from what I've noticed, is that when you're getting sucked into the little wormhole at the end of the level, it doesn't actually suck you into it. It doesn't, like, get the... what is it for X? X would be the cosine of your the angle you're trying to apply. Sine would be... Anyways, point is, it's not taking an angle of your position relative to the position of the portal at the end of the level. It's not doing that to suck you into it perfect. it's consistently subtracting or adding a value based on which side of it you are on. So if I'm to the left of the portal, each frame it's adding like 3 onto me to try to scoop me over to it. It works like that. So what ends up happening is you get sucked into the portal and then you're vibrating violently once you get to it because you're not perfectly overlapping it. So the game is just freaking out trying to get you to overlap with it perfect, like center you with it. So you're just spinning around and like vibrating because they didn't properly try to pull you into it. That sort of thing. People don't pick up on that for a while when they're making games. They pick up on it over time. So it's I can't understand what he's saying. Oh my god. Okay. If you're I think I used this as an example before. What was it? Something stupid. What game was it that did this? I'm trying to remember now. What did it? Oh, frame skipping. People were setting up frame skipping tutorials for Game Maker, and no one seems to understand what frame skipping is. Frame skipping is supposed to fast forward you to where the game should be, even if the frame rate slows down. That's what frame skipping is supposed to do. So the example I always brought up was if you grab a game window, because it pauses the game when you're moving a game window around. If you grab a game window while you're holding the right key down, and you grab it and move it for like a full second, then let go, in the game, once you let go, it should teleport you over to the right because you were holding right. So for the time that you were holding the window, it should be moving you that whole time. Even though you couldn't see it, the game should still try to run normally. Even though you're trying to freeze the application, it should still handle all the code properly. That's what frame skipping should be doing. Frame skipping, to a lot of people who use Game Maker, what they think it is just randomly skipping a frame every once in a while to catch up slowly over time if the game is running wrong, which is not how you should do it. And the way that I was trying to explain the method that I keep seeing is there's 2 numbers, and there's 2 numbers. There's one which is, I shouldn't even apply that to it. Essentially, think of it this way, that you have the number 5. You need to get to the number 10. You have the option that you could just set the number to 10, or you could be weird about it and keep adding the number 1 to it over and over again to get up to 10. That's what they're sort of doing. Instead of throttling the game code a few times over through loops and functions like that to frame skip properly, to have the game run just fine to catch up to where it should be, so in 1 frame, it's immediately at 10. For whatever reason, how people program frame skipping for Game Maker, they decide, oh, let's just arbitrarily skip every other frame. So by doing that, they're just adding 1 to a number over and over again. So if a game was behind by like 60 frames, you'd be waiting a few seconds for the game to finally catch up to where it should be, as opposed to it just immediately catching up. That's what they do. And that's what Nuclear Throne, what I was trying to explain with the whole positioning thing. That's what's happening there, is that as opposed to moving your position to another object's position relative from distance and everything, so it's always the same speed, you always get there at the same time, and once you're within the area of it, that's good enough. As opposed to it doing that, it's just constantly adding a set value to you to get you over to it. So once you get over to it, if you're not perfectly lined up, which you probably won't be, it starts vibrating you around because it doesn't know what to do. You're not lined up perfect because it kept adding the number 5 to you. So you could be 1, 2, 3, 4. You could be something slightly over the value. And because of that, you start vibrating because they didn't properly handle that. That sort of thing is a mistake that a lot of people make when they're programming. You pick up on these things over time. When you're first coding, you start doing stuff like that. You think it's just you keep adding to the X position of an object to make them move. But you start realizing you need to set up momentum and everything. You need to have proper acceleration and everything, base movement off angles. You get into a whole bunch of different things. It's something that you learn over time. Mechl misuser, yes and no. Donkey Kong 64 was trying to do something like frame skipping, but not in the way that is good. The way they handled it in that is instead of kind of throttling game code and just not rendering anything visually during slowdown, instead of doing something like that so the game still runs perfectly fine, because it's the N64, you can't really do that. You can do that now. Back then you couldn't really do that too well. What they did instead was, okay, depending on how slow the game is running, we're going to speed up your movement more, so it looks like, because they say in interviews even with Donkey Kong 64, like, oh yeah, that's a stylistic thing we decided on, is that when something intense is happening, it slows the game down. But yeah, it increases your movement speed when the game runs slower, but because of that, if you throw a bunch of grenades at once, it almost tanks the frame rate to nothing, and you can just clip outside of walls because of it. It doesn't work alongside collision checks, and that's the problem. If you're going to do that, which is probably one of the better ways of doing it, if you're going to do that for frame skipping, you need to properly handle checks and everything too. After doing that, you need to extend the area of a collision check because of it. If you're going to throw someone ahead instead of like moving them a meter, if you're going to throw them 100 meters in one frame to make up for the time that was being lost, if you're going to do that, you need to check that 100 meters. You can't check the 1 meter normally. You need to check all 100 meters. You can't just do that. Otherwise, you're going to clip outside of walls, which is what happens in that. Will Bippy have time trials? It's going to have letter grades. So you'll be like Mischief Makers. There's going to be S grades on every stage. Play a game, homosexual. I will in a bit. Settle down. In what ways is it similar to Omega Factor? Good play on words. Just how the combat and that kind of felt, punching enemies around and everything, using some of the moves and abilities that Astro Boy had, that sort of thing. It's gonna feel a little bit like that. You can hit enemies and other enemies and stuff like that. Are mech games truly dead? I think over here they absolutely are. Japan still gets like Gundam games. They have that arcade Gundam game where you're in a cockpit and everything. It reminds me, I dreamt about that last night. I dreamt about getting to play a game like that again, where you're in a cockpit, getting to control a robot. I miss that sort of thing. I wish there were games like that still. I really like games like that. I really like where you just feel like you're getting accustomed to very strange controls, because if you're in the cockpit of a giant robot or something, that's how they would function. I always enjoyed that sort of thing. How does this cat make you feel? He's making a pretty good face. I like the one that's he looks like he's screaming as he's being fed spaghetti. And there's the one that has the hamburger shoved in his mouth. Do you wear glasses, contacts, or your eyes just naturally working? My eyes just work. Which is funny because I don't think anyone in my family is in the same position as that. I think everybody in my family wears glasses. How we make a FAQ for questions like how you learn to code. I might have to, because people ask me about it all the time, and it's not even like a thing really. There's no solid answer to that. All I can say is just look at games you like, try experimenting. But I'll hook up an actual game now. We'll play something now. What's your favorite hamburger place? Probably Shake Shack. Umahara. I could play Umahara. I'm sure I'll do really bad because I was very tired last time I played it, but I also know I'm really out of it. I'm very out of practice with that game. No Wendy's. Wendy's is good too. Yes, I saw the funny joke about asking for my address. You should paste it 10 more times. Okay, so give me 1 sec. I'll switch games over now. 1 sec. Oh. Okay. Ow! One sec. Alright, how's it look? This is on the actual hardware for anyone wondering. Thank you so much, Amin, for sending us this. You've made me the happiest person alive. How loud is it? Probably a little too loud. I can turn it down a little bit. Twitch is messing up. I'm trying to change the game I'm playing, but it's not showing me anything. So hang on. Let me get over to my channel. Hey, what is it doing? It's not letting me change the game I'm playing.